this is the what the hell is this? And I'm going to look at the black hole, the Disney late 70s disaster made in the wake of Star Wars. The Star Wars came out in '77, and instantly everyone wanted a space movie because Star Wars made so much money. And then later on that year, Close Encounters made a fortune as well. So it was a 1-2 punch. And we just had Jaws before that, and you had the disaster movies before them, which were the Tower Inferno, Poseidon Adventure. They'd all made a lot of money. That was before the sequels and the terrible disaster movies came out. So everyone was looking for the big thing, which meant you wouldn't have the late 70s where Hollywood overspent insanely on films that made you wonder, did anyone read the script? Like, did anyone see that there's no commercial possibilities of these films? Because there's lots of films made in the mid to late 70s that were, like, insane. Some of them are good insane, and other ones are like, why? So, the Black Hole's a why one. Black Hole was Disney's modest little entry into the why did you make this film type of setup. So the film was developed before Star Wars came out, but it was in the back burner. No one cared, really. Star Wars comes out and Disney says, okay, what have we got as a space movie? And they say, we've got this, we've developed, but it fell away and no one cared. Oh, let's make it anyway. Let's rewrite it and make it an epic film. Okay, who are we going to get to direct it? We'll get the director of Freaky Friday. It's not a good start. Not hiring... There were a lot of directors who'd done like big budget films with effects, like John Gilliman or Ron O'Neill, who would go on to do Meteor, which is another What Was That movie, because I didn't have enough money to do the effects. This one did the money for effects, but they didn't have someone to do the acting scenes. So Disney were like, okay, well, we'll give you a fortune for the effects, and we'll give it to the director of Freaky Friday, who had no history of doing serious science fiction. Okay, that's a start. So there's a script that later on will be called one of the most scientifically inaccurate scripts ever. Yeah, it kind of is. Even watching it is like, that doesn't make sense. What they're doing here, that just doesn't make sense. Like there's so much in this film that it doesn't make sense. Like I'll get to it. But they spent a fortune on all these effects and this big set of sets and a big spaceship that was basically the Nautilus in space, because basically this is Captain Nemo in space, also a mad scientist. It's a bit of a mixture of Captain Nemo and a mad scientist, who's monitoring his black hole. They kind of Maximilian Schell to play the character, who's a terrific actor who's done a lot of good stuff. Very good casting. You give him nothing to do, of course, but he does what he's told to do. For the crew to discover him, they hire a lot of good actors and give them nothing to do. So they hire Robert Foster as a captain. He'd been in big films and small films, and was a reliable actor even then, because not long before this he did Avalanche, which is a fun little disaster movie. But he's given nothing to do. It's like he's given like a no character set up. There's Joseph Bottom's second command, who's the action guy. That's all he's got. You have Ernest Borgnine as the kind of engineer guy who's a bit selfish, and he has a moustache, so you know not to trust him entirely. You have Anthony Perkins as the main scientist guy, who is a big fan of Maximilian Schell's character when he discovers who it is. Again, it's like Robert Foster. Perkins does what he's meant to do, but he's not really given much. Yvette Monroe as the female scientist who is there so there's a woman in the film, basically. And her father was on this ship and he disappeared, which is given almost zero, depth beyond, where's my dad? But she's a middle-aged woman. So it's like, well, surely you're over this by now. If he disappeared so long ago. And yeah, you'd be curious. But it's not given the emotionality of, where's my dad, as a mature person saying it, or a mature person with, I should say it, it's just like mechanical line delivery. Because they're in all these massive sets, and you can tell the director who spent most of the time in the sets because he didn't have time to do anything else but that in effects. So none of the actors have a hope in hell of making an impression. Roddy McDowall and Slim Pickens is the voice of the robots. The voice of the cute robots because of Star Wars. And they merchandised all these people, and the toys sold nothing because no one liked the film. So it's one of the things where they spent all this money on a release for something. They could see a release date, and they could see like things they could market, but they didn't actually have a product to market. It's sort of like Beyond Poseidon Adventure, where they had a sequel to Poseidon Adventure, and then you saw the film and there's nothing there. There's nothing to market there. There's no film. Which is the thing that Hollywood always does. It's always a mistake it makes, is like, we've got the release date. Do you have a film? A coherent film? Nope. That'll sort itself out. Oh, why did this film bomb? Because there was no script. Oh. But it had nice effects. And this film does have nice effects. The best thing with this film is watching the effects work. Because the effects work is gorgeous. There's so much weird stuff going on when they go into the black hole. And there's tons of model shots floating around this model of this big ship that's wonderful looking. But the thing is, the small ship that's floating around it, that's meant to be the ship for the Earth people investigating find this ship, looks dinky and looks like it came from a Jerry Anderson production. So you have something that looks amazing, you have something that looks silly, and the same shot half the time. And you've got all these actors trying to make everything look serious. I bet there's no personality involved. And it's basically trying to get to Maximilian Schell as the villain. It's obvious that we need to put life into this film. You ham it up like crazy. And he does. But it's like, there's no mystery. He's a psycho. You know he's a psycho from the start. So there's just nothing here. But it always looks gorgeous. But there's all this stuff about where did the crew go? Or the crew left the ship. And there's all these humanoid looking beings everywhere. Are they all robots? Alright, then you found that they're the crew that have been mentally changed and they're wearing all these weird masks and they're half electronic, half human. And how do they still live with... How do they get fed? I don't know. It's never explained. But they've got this massive area of greenery, so obviously they're still making the food. So obviously you can figure out that they're still feeding the crew, but their brains aren't working anymore. But it's never fully explained in a way that's satisfying. And the full films of that is like this massive scenes are not there because we're cut out for pace or cut out for... Well, we don't need to explain this stuff. And there's just lots of set pieces that are just silly. There's a whole set piece early on where they get too close to the black hole, the ship, and they discover the other ship there. They get too close to the black hole and they're almost dragged into it, and they manage to boost themselves back out some way. And you're watching thinking that logic makes no sense. If you're caught in a black hole, you're caught in a black hole now you're dead. There's no rocket ships that can actually get out. And there's also the big ship, the Psycho ship, is close to black hole. We've got certain technology to keep us safe from this black hole, and you're thinking, huh? I don't think human beings can create technology that can do that. I don't think it happens. Oh god, it's just one of those stupid films. Later on, there's running around the ship shooting people. There's when it gets close to the black hole, the human beings are trying to escape from the ship, escape from the crazy robots, and there's Ernest Borgnine betrays them to try and escape by himself and blows up their only escape. There's lots of running around to find the escape pod from this ship, the big ship as well, and it's a lot of running around, but there's no motivation for anything because it's like, well, this ship's into the black hole, and no matter what you've got, you're not going to escape it. You might as well just sat there and went, okay, we're dead. That's going on the whole film, is this sense of there's so little logic going on in this film that you just watch the pretty pictures because nothing makes sense. Like, they haven't figured out the basics of the story in a way that's actually logical. But I still had a blast watching this film, even though, because it's fun to watch old school effects in the late 70s, with they spent a fortune on it to try and make it look good. So you go from great shots to tacky shots to great shots. Again, you've got a good cast delivering nonsense throughout it. You've got dramatic peaks and valleys that go up and down of them trying to do stuff in film. It's mainly valleys. But every so often there's a peak of, oh, this could be interesting. No, it's not. You know, the little bits and bobs. The actors are grabbing onto them for dear life. Like, give us something to do, please. It's pretty bad. But it's still very enjoyable. The end's really weird when they go into the black hole, both the big ship and the escape ship, because there's no way to escape a black hole. And there's a psychedelic thing where Maximilian Schell is fused with his machine, big machine, that was a killer machine, it's a big scary killer machine from the film, from the whole film. He's always this big machine beside him that's a threat. And he ends up inside it and fusing in the machine. It's meant to be weird psychedelic stuff. But it's just lots of weird images. It's almost like he ends up in hell, which is weird because the film is meant to be science. Now there's a hell, a literal hell, which is very weird. Like, almost as if the scripts get made up every day. Thinking, what can look pretty? Hell! Yeah, your heroes end up in the other side of a new universe through a black hole, which we never explore because the film ends and the film is a bomb. But it's just a mess. It's a total mess, but I enjoyed every second of it. But it's really hard to defend this one. This is like how you do not make a science fiction film. You do not start a premise that's moronic. Like, basic thing is, black holes you avoid. Just avoid them. They'll kill you. Like, instantly. Just avoid them like the plague. And if you don't, you have to have something really clever, which this film doesn't have. Instead, it's just lots of weird, wonky science that doesn't make any sense, and but it's just wonderfully tacky. And so, yeah, I'd recommend it, but you might need a few drinks before you start. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's inspired to go and watch this terrible, terrible film. Because this is one of the films I do in this video series that I do recommend for all the wrong reasons, because it is very enjoyable, despite not being very good in any way. Because it is entertaining and it's just insanity. But yeah, just the black hole, it's unique. Right, bye for now.